So it's not, oh my God, it's oh my God, like freaking out. It's, oh, okay, Sergeant Adamski said this is going to suck. Here we go, right? So you'll be able to get through much easier. So on top of that, there are bonuses available depending on the jobs that you choose and if you qualify and score a certain score on the ASVAB. Passing score on the ASVAB is 31, right? The score is out of 99. So that average is taken out of average of everybody, and my lights in my office went out. Hold on. Motion detection. It's awesome. So the score on your ASVAB is taken on average out of 99 out of everyone who takes the ASVAB that day. So you're on average with everyone in the nation that takes that test on that day, right? Of course, the better you do and higher the score on the test, the better the opportunities. So at this time, I know I'm talking my head off. What questions do you guys have? Anything whatsoever? Also open it up to our instructors as well. Anybody? Nobody? Gotta give me something.
Remember, you can write your questions in the chat or unmute to ask your questions. Either
There
way.
we go. Dusty's got a question.
How much training do you have to do in a day?
How much, what? Planning?
Training. How much hours of training?
Okay. So remember, training with the National Guard, the whole thing is that we are a part-time service. 1 weekend a month and 2 weeks in the summer, right? Those are the times that you do. Now, depending on the training that you do on those weekends and during the summer, totally depends on your MOS that you choose, the job that you choose, right? For example, okay, I'm an infantryman. So my job is very, I would say, hands-on, and I'm in the field a lot, right? So when I was doing, when I was on my weekend status, I would report to my unit on either a Friday night or Saturday morning. We would prep our gear, and depending on the mission and training for that weekend, either pack our gear or carry our gear, and the transport. Now it's either buses, military transport vehicles, so like strikers that we have on the roads, and also my last unit at the 303rd, we flew in helicopters a lot. All right, so my first unit, we went down to Municipal Airport, jumped on Chinooks. Those are the double-bladed ones, the big ones that fly by all the time, right? And then they dropped us off on a hill in Yakima and picked us up a day later. So the training and the things that you do are totally dependent on what job you choose, and also mission parameters. Throughout the year, the training cycle, your chain of command sets up what training needs to be done in relation to state and federal mission. And that's another thing I forgot to mention with the National Guard. We're dual missioned. So we have a federal mission and we have a state mission. Federal mission, so we are we stand by and support Big Army and the federal government on global operations. So it says U.S. Army on my uniform, right? So we do the same training. We're funded by the same funds, and then we're also involved in the same operations globally. Okay. Does that mean you do a global rotation or a deployment? It can. I'm not going to lie to you. But at the same time, that's few and far between. We're primarily state-driven. So our state mission, we work for the governor's office first. So responding to local emergencies, supporting local entities, like right now during the pandemic, right? We are out there at testing sites and assisting healthcare providers that are doing tests. We have test sites on JBLM. We also are moving, well, now you know the vaccine is being pushed out too. We're helping with transport on that too. We're also supporting local law enforcement in the cities. We're also transporting food and doing a lot of support operations for local city ordinances and stuff like that. Of course, every year when we have the fires as well and natural disasters and things that come up, we're there supporting local emergency response people. So Long-winded answer. Sorry, Dusty. What other questions you guys got?
I did get one sent to me in the chat. Skylar asks, in what situation would the National Guard leave the U.S.?
So, as I was saying, we support the federal. So, current operations overseas, like say in Afghanistan, we do have troops in Africa. We have troops everywhere, honestly. In the National Guard, every state is actually paired with a foreign nation with support, with training, right, and support. The West Coast states, so California, Oregon, and Washington, and Alaska, right, we have the Pacific region of the globe, all right? So we are paired with Asian countries in training, so Japan, Taiwan, the Philippines. So we do training operations with them as well. So depending on the unit and depending on your job, you have global training events that happen as well. So that and depending on the length of time, that the type of training, it's usually a matter of weeks. So that's usually your annual training that I was getting to, right? So every summer you typically have 2, possibly 3 weeks, depending on the job. Okay, 2 weeks of training, and that training can be with a partner nation globally. So there is definitely global opportunities for global travel. You can also volunteer to go on deployment if you wish. So there are support operations all the time, and there is a registry that you can look at and with your chain of command and volunteer for deployments as well. What other questions you guys got?
I have a quick question. You've mentioned a few times that you choose your job in the National Guard. Is that different from other military branches?
So with other military branches, they can afford you the opportunity to apply for the job, right? So you would enlist in their branch, right? And then you are either get based off the ASVAB or given some other aptitude evaluation, the opportunity to get the job that you want, right? Primarily, that's one of the reasons why I joined the Army. I went to some other branches and they couldn't give me a guarantee on a specific job that I wanted. That's one of the reasons I joined the Army first, is because in contract, in writing, you're going to know what job you're doing, how long you're going to do it. And the big difference with us, with the National Guard, is that you're going to know where you're going to be doing your job. So we work in armories all throughout the state. So you're going to know what armory and what exact unit you're coming home to after AIT and training. That's all part of the process and enlistment process. So our biggest thing is, my first question to you, if you ever come and ask me questions, my first question to you is going to be, well, what do you want to do? Because my job as a recruiter for the National Guard is, I want to pair you with a career that supports you in doing what you want to do on the civilian side. Next question.
I'll just keep asking if others don't have any, but again, feel free to send them through the chat if you have any questions. So did I hear you correctly that if I am 17 the summer before my senior year, I can start working for the National Guard and getting paid and accruing benefits?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So at age 17, with parental consent, you can enlist into the National Guard. So say right now, if you were a junior, I know you guys are freshmen right now, but you were a junior, you can enlist now. And then at the end of the year and come June, at the end of June into July, you report to basic training over the summer. It's like a summer job, really, but you're doing basic training for the military. And then you come home and you do senior year. Like, again, it's called split option training. But yes, the biggest difference between us and the rest of the services is the fact that as soon as you leave MEPS, which is military, Investment Processing Center, the whole thing is that your benefits and your status as a soldier start that day. So your time and grade, your time and contract also starts that day. So say if you only enlist for 4 years, when you enlist as a junior in high school, the first 2 years of your contract are going to be in high school. You're not going to be reporting to your unit yet. After you return from AIT, and one of the biggest things is if you are college bound, if college and education are something that you want to do, or job training, certification, as long as you maintain a 2.0 grade point average, okay? You put it in your we'll put it in your contract that as long as you maintain that 2.0 while you're in school and you're a full-time student, you're non-deployable. So say you join at age 17, right? First 2 years you're in high school. The next 2 years you're in college, maintaining that 2.0 and getting it 100% paid for on us. So say you come in and you like the military, you can definitely make it a career. There are definitely career opportunities with us. But say you want to use it so you make sure you leave college without any debt, that's a good plan.
So I have a couple more from the chat. Jenna asks, do you have to stay in the military for a certain amount of time before you can leave?
So as I was saying, like when the beginning, I was saying everybody does an 8-year term, right? Everybody does 8 years. How you serve that 8 years is what we call contract time, right? So we have, like I said, depending on how long you do wearing the uniform and going to your monthly drills, depends on you. You can join for as little as 3 years, right? So just do a 3-year term. If you like it, you can extend and re-enlist and finish out your time in uniform. Or if you choose to exit, what happens is you go in what's called the IR. It's called inactive reserve. Now, these are the guys that are called like if aliens invade, okay? It's just you're put into a reserve status for the rest of your time period. So for example, when I first did active duty, I did 4-year term. I completed my 4 years on active duty. When I left active duty, I still had 4 years left in the IR. Now, I could have just gone back to the civilian world and just maybe gotten a phone call and reported in, hey, I'm still alive. Or what I chose to do, I chose to join the National Guard and serve out the remainder of that time in uniform on part-time service. I made a career out of it, just the way it goes. So, but yes, everybody who joins the military has an 8-year term of service, depending on whether it's active drilling or active duty or in the IR.
All right, one more question from the chat. Jordan asks, where is the training site? So where do you train?
Absolutely. So based on the job that you choose, okay, we have 4 basic training locations, right? We have Fort Benning, Georgia. We have Fort Jackson. We have Fort Leavenworth and Fort Sill. Now, depending on the job that you choose, depends on what installation you go to. Fort Benning, Georgia is usually for combat arms, right? So you have your artillery, your infantry, military police, stuff like that. Not military police, sorry. Combat engineers, stuff like that. Fort Sill, you have, I know I just sent a guy for artillery, support services, technical. So we have tech jobs as well. So guys are doing computer and intel, go to Fort Sill. Fort Jackson, you have a lot of supply and support. So those of you that are going to be in supply or logistics, you're going to go to Fort Jackson. And then Fort Leavenworth, right? It's also known for it's the military's prison, right? But Fort Leavenworth is also where you get some of your so military police, for example, go there for their training. But those are the 4 basic training installations. Your AIT totally depends, again, on the job that you choose. For infantry, you're going to stay at Fort Benning and you're going to continue training there. Say if you go linguist, and we do have positions for linguists if you speak a second language. You have to take another test for that, but you get to go to lovely Southern California and San Diego for a year learning language, and we pay for it, fully paid. So depending on what job you choose, depends on where you go.
So informative, thank you. I'm not seeing any other questions at this time. So final call for questions. Remember, if you guys think of other questions later, you can always send them to me or Mrs. Hiles and we can pass them on.
Ms. Hiles, Ms. Frinfrock, thank you so much for having me. I really do appreciate the time, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk to all of you guys. Again, feel free to reach out to me, and I'm always here. Guys, stay safe, all right? And see you soon.